Hey, we're back at it. It's another episode of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. That is Bill Althouse. I'm Tony Stevens. And once again, we're brought to you by Sandy's restaurant in Blue Springs and our friend Bobby Hines, who's also the founder of the You Matter movement, whose mission is to offer compassionate support and resources to individuals facing mental health challenges and addiction. You can find out all about that at youmattermovement.org, and you can find all about Sandy's on 7 Highway in Blue Springs. And if you are out of town and you're coming to town for the World Cup or Royals weekend or whatever, make sure you stop by Sandy's. Also want to remind you that all our full podcast episodes are on YouTube. They are on Spotify. You can hook up with us, check out all the reels, not only there, but on TikTok and Facebook. And we also want to welcome a new sponsor and partner, Over the Top Roofing in Kansas City, and my dear friend, Mark Sandridge. And we'll chat with Mark here in just a couple minutes. So let's get right at it like we do every week. We'll start with the sports hot topics of the week. The Royals, so far, still so-so, kind of hanging around 500. But, Bill, this is last year's story, part 2.
It really is, and they've wasted so many great pitching performances.
Crazy.
Their last 2 wins, 2-0.
Yeah, we scored 4 runs in 3 games and managed to win 2 of them.
I know that's unbelievable. The starting pitching's done well. Ersig's come around in the bullpen.
But we're just not hitting.
No,
I mean, we got a guy at the top of the lineup that's hitting about 350, Mike Garcia, but we just haven't gotten much out of Bobby, Vinny, or Sal.
No. Vinny and Sal below 200, Bobby about 250.
With what, 1 or 2 extra base hits so far in 15 games. So, that's got to pick up in a hurry. But, they're in a division where everybody else is about the same.
I know.
So, so far so good as far as hanging around, not getting knocked out of the race already. But, yeah, you're right. The starting pitching is as good as anybody's. As good as anybody's. And I'll tell you, though, the one person that's done good has been Carter Jensen. 4 home runs and a handful of at-bats.
Yes,
so,
yes. Local kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's a good sign, too.
Yes.
Also want to bring up something else. Have you seen the new Cityscape uniforms?
Yes, and I'm underwhelmed. I think everybody is.
Okay, now you see what I got on.
Now, see,
this is
I
the
like
original
that. Yes.
Cityscape uniform, which I never heard anybody say, that's terrible. But, okay, so the new, if you haven't seen them, you see them right now. The Cityscape uniforms have, I don't know what Kansas City, or especially the Royals, got to do with pink and purple. So
I know it caught me off guard a little bit. If they start winning, people are going to start liking the jerseys a lot more,
and they'll start buying them too.
Yes,
I can't imagine these things are flying off the shelf.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan, but I care more about the guys wearing the jerseys, and I want them to. If they can combine some hitting with the pitching they're getting,
they're going to be real good.
Really good. Yes.
Okay, let's move on. The team that doesn't lose, the Mavericks, are still at it.
Unbelievable. I was.
What do they got? A couple games.
2 games left, both on the road.
Yeah.
Saturday night, their last home game, sellout at Cable Dahmer Arena.
Yeah.
4-3 win over Toledo.
Yeah.
And it was just electric in there. Their 2 top goalies have both been called up to the AHL team in Coachella Valley. They've got a kid that started the season with another team, Dylan Wells, and he's 9-2. And they just needed him to fill a space on the bench, basically.
And he doesn't lose.
And he doesn't lose. Jack LaFontaine, 22-2.
Yes.
Logan Turness has 20 wins, and those guys are going to come back.
That was my next question because, and really, Bill, we've been talking about it all year as they keep winning and winning. If they don't win that championship, it's just going to be a big disappointment. It's going to be tough. So my question was to you when you said they call these guys up, are they going to be back for the playoffs?
There are 9 guys up. And
they're coming back.
They're all, yes, they'll all. There are guys out there, and I'm like, can I have a program, please? I mean, I didn't recognize a bunch of and they still playing lights out. And they have the league MVP if Marcus Crawford isn't the MVP of the league. 72 assists
That's crazy.
in 70 games. He is the leading scorer,
And
not
he's a
only in
defenseman, right?
not on. That's what I was getting to. He leads the league in scoring, and he's a defenseman. And he leads the defenseman by like 35 points. And his plus-minus average, if you're on the ice when a goal is scored against your team, it's a minus. When you're on and it's scored, it's a plus 48.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We've never had anything like that.
Okay, so when we talk next, we'll be in the place of just starting
Yes.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and the team that we were hoping we'd still be talking about, what a freaking letdown for the Comets.
Oh,
what a
man.
letdown. I know you went to both games.
Yes.
They played the 2 playoff games. The first game against St. Louis here, and we
lost.
Same old story.
I know. We lost.
You know, it's have a 2 or 3 goal lead in the fourth period,
I know.
and either lose in regulation or lose in overtime. They had 1 minute to go.
I know.
In regulation, and
Couldn't
couldn't
get it
hang
done.
on.
I know.
And then lose in overtime, and then you drove down to St. Louis. And the stupid ass rule that they have in the league that we talked about last week, where
We talk about that all the time. I can't believe it.
If you tie the series up, which is just a 2-game series,
2 games, right?
the only way to determine the winner is to play a 15-minute. I mean, come on.
And it's not golden goal. It's
It's
a
a
15-minute
whoever's
period.
got most
so,
of the 15, yeah.
St. Louis scored first and then scored again towards the end of the period. And I tell you what, I'm a big fan of St. Louis because they were terrible at the start of the season.
They weren't even in the playoff run when we were.
Oh,
down
no, they haven't been in the
at
playoffs
soccer
for
gym.
several years.
Yeah, when we went down there and spent that day with those guys,
I know.
they weren't even in the picture.
And there's an I-70 series, and it's whoever wins the most games between St. Louis and Kansas City. Well, the Comets beat them the first 4 games, and they haven't come close to beating the Ambush since then. So I really wish the Ambush a lot of luck. Their goalie, Paulo Nascimento, great guy. He's really good friends with a lot of people on the Comets, and everybody's like, okay, you beat us, now go win a championship.
Yeah, that's good. I guess the only question remaining is Steph coming back?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, he's a good friend of yours. And,
very good friend.
He was good with us. We had him on with us, and I know that a lot of the players like him, but I don't know, Bill. You can't. If it happens once or twice or 2 or even 3 times maybe over the course of a season, but when you've got a month or a month and a half where you can't close a game out, somebody's responsible for that.
8 overtime losses this season.
That can't happen.
And you can't fire a team, so you look at the coach, and
it's probably going to happen.
With Alan Mayer has been the goaltender coach there forever. His son Kenny's been the assistant. Ramon Palmer, a great former player, joined the coaching staff this year, and for the 4th year in a row, they led the league in attendance by a lot. They're getting the job done. Fans love them. They're really appealing to families, much like the Mavericks started doing. And you look at how they've just thrived from the offensive and fan point of view. But I'm anxious to see what shakes out the next couple of weeks.
Something's got to change.
Yeah,
and I mean, don't get us wrong. We're not looking for Steph to get out.
I hope he's there forever.
Yeah, but something's going to happen.
Yep.
Sporting, pretty much the same. They lose to San Jose. Kansas City Kern, who they won their first game. They got off to a terrible start.
Yes.
By losing 3 in a row.
Yes.
So they've won back-to-back games. So they look like they're back at what they're accustomed, what we're accustomed to seeing with them. All right, let's get into it. Music and entertainment news this week. Once again, brought to you by Vito's here in Blue Springs. Vito's original pizza. Good friends of ours, but also incredible food over at Vito's. A woman is accused of stalking and attacking Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac. I mean, I know you've heard this because it's happened for years. I don't know how this lady still gets access to Lindsey Buckingham. She's been stalking him for years. And so now they arrested her. She actually threw, I don't know if it was bleach.
Yeah, it was a substance.
Something. They said they keep saying substance.
Yes.
So, it wasn't water. So, but they arrested her. She got 7 counts of assault well, they said with a deadly weapon involving a motor vehicle. I guess she tried to run his ass over.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
I just heard
yeah.
the substance that she threw at him.
5 years she's been bothering him. Wow. You remember Ray Stevens, the guy that did all the songs?
They Call Me the Streak.
The Streak.
Yeah.
They had the Arab tone. I know you're going to remember the Santa Claus is watching you. You remember that? The funniest part of that song was the Santa's reindeer. They were Bruce and Marvin, Leon, and Cletus. Just leave it at that. Anyway, he fell and broke his neck.
Yeah.
He had this happen. I mean, we're not laughing at him, but they said, well, I'll be in a brace for 4 weeks and then I'll be back. And he's got a new album that's coming out this week. That guy's like 90.
I remember.
He had this place down in Branson.
Well, I remember as a kid, my dad didn't like to go on vacations, but he did like to go to Branson, and he liked Ray Stevens. So I've seen Ray Stevens down there, and really an engaging, entertaining guy. And wow,
he broke his neck, but I guess he's going to be okay, is what he says. My favorite band of all time, next to the Beatles, Pink Floyd, has another album on the way, and you're wondering how can that be? Because they're just not together anymore. There was only 3 of them left, and one of them died, or two of them. No, one of them died. Yeah,
Nick Mason died.
Yeah,
Richard Wright and Gilmore still there, and then
David Gilmore. Yeah, and Roger Waters doing his thing. But it's a compilation album called 8 tracks. It's songs that were recorded between 71 and 79. So it'll be albums, let's see, that'd be Metal, Obscured by Clouds, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
And they asked David Gilmour about it. He goes, why? So, I mean, I guess it's Gilmour's always kind of quaint,
yes,
real quick. And he
yes.
goes, why? But if you're a Pink Floyd fan, so I'm sure I'll be having that. That's coming out 4th of July week. Here we go. So we thought that Taylor and Travis were getting married June 13th.
13th.
Well,
her lucky number.
Well, it ain't happening.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah, the wedding date has been confirmed.
I've got to clear my calendar again now.
Yeah, well, for what, 11 months? So the New York Post says that the wedding will take place July 3rd in New York City. The Post said that save the date notices have already been sent out. So you haven't gotten yours.
No, I'm waiting.
There was going to be June 13th. Well, going to be what we heard in Rhode Island, where Taylor owns that big estate. But the Post said that they just want to go all out for a 4th of July weekend. Can you imagine what that thing's going to be like?
No.
Well, and usually I know in New York City, 4th of July, they always do a big fireworks thing on the East River. And
oh, yeah.
There, so
yeah.
She'll probably buy that out.
Yes.
I would think. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we want to welcome our new sponsor and partner, and actually happens to be one of my best friends in life, if not the. Sorry, you may have to take a 1B, just only because I've known him my whole life. But he's the owner of Over the Top Roofing here in Kansas City, local ownership. His name is Mark Sanders. Brother, thanks, man. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Well, as we're speaking, it's been raining like hell here, and it's been like Noah's Ark here all week. We had bad weather early this year. I mean, 2 months earlier than what we normally have. And, you and I, we talk all the time, but I know that you've been busy with your roofing company, and we'll get into more about that here in a second. But what do people got to look out for? I mean, you were telling me, man, you have no idea all the fly-by-nights have been hitting the streets, but, Bill and I don't know anything about that. So what do you want to say to folks about people approaching them about fixing their roof or putting a new roof on their houses?
Well, best advice I can give is hire local companies. I don't care who you go with, hire somebody that's local, because there's so many storm chasers that are coming all over the country that are coming here, knocking on doors. I have a buddy of mine at Lake Wacomas got hammered a few weeks ago, and my buddy, who I've done work for several years ago, called me up and says, you got to get over here, put your sign in my yard, because I've had these storm chasers knocking on my door 6 o'clock in the morning.
What?
6 o'clock in the morning. If anybody comes to my door at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're not going to get a very good. I'm not going to be too happy about that. I'm sure you people aren't either, but it's really hard. People are scared. They have all this huge hail damage, wind damage to their property, and these people come knocking on the door and say, "Hey, listen, we'll look at your roof, we'll assess it, see if there's any damage on it, and if there is, and there is, they had hail as big as baseballs on there.
It was all over TV.
Yeah, and so, and then they tell them, hey, we can handle everything. We'll talk to your insurance company. You don't have to worry about it. We're here for you. But they're from out of town. If you happen to get lucky enough to get a decent crew that does the right thing, but what if you do have a problem? What if you have a leak? Where they're going to come from? Omaha, Waco, Texas, Little Rock, Arkansas, wherever they're coming from all over the country to come in and fix that? No, they're not going to do that. And another thing people don't think about is when you hire local companies, that money stays here in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and that's what you want to do. And me, I don't even advertise. I've been doing it for over 20 years. I get referrals. People call me up. On my way out here, I had a phone call. A guy that I've put 3 different roofs on and his family members, they call me up, say, I got my niece, she needs help. She don't know what to do. These storm chasers are calling her, driving her crazy. And I said, sure, I'll be there for her. So I called her. We're going to hook up tomorrow, and, I'm going to, take care of her. That's what I do.
I was going to ask you, I know, but you've been doing this a long time with Over the Top Roofing. When did that all start? And tell us a little bit about your background about that.
Well, my background is prior to my roofing, I've been doing this for 22 years in the roofing business, but I was in a concrete resurfacing business, so I worked my way up the ladder, so to speak.
Started in the basement?
I started doing roofing, and it's amazing the changes. The technology just on the roofing products that they have now, it's just amazing. And there used to have, you weren't fighting 50, 100 different roofing companies that were in the Kansas City area. And usually everybody just, once you do a good job, it's the referrals. It's the word of mouth that really is what you need to go on. So I know everybody's had a roof done sometime in their life, or you had a family member, neighbor, whatever. Just go with a reputable local company, and this way they'll know they'll be there for you.
Well, I know one. It's called Over the Top Roofing. What do you say, Bill?
My mom got scammed several years ago. She was in her late 80s. We had one of those just hellacious storms. The wind was crazy. We drove over, and a bunch of her shingles were off, and she wanted to be independent, wanted to take care of it herself. And before they did anything, she wrote them a check for $4,000 and never had one thing done. There's a special place for people like that. I was so angry. The city of Independence, city of Blue Springs, they don't really have anything to chase down people that do that. And, Mark, like you were talking about, I see these signs at the entry into every subdivision out in Green Valley, and it's, so-and-so roofing, so-and-so, and none of them are local.
No, they're not. And it's easy to determine because most of them have out-of-state area codes. And a lot of people, one of the tricks of the trade for these storm chasers, they'll come in town and they'll go to a Verizon, whatever cell provider, and they'll get local cell phone numbers and pretend that they're local to get, have people think that, we're local, we'll be able to contact you. It's one of the tricks of trade. But when they pull up, you see a Texas tag or Nebraska or whatever. That's an easy indicator. But they know what they're doing. They're pros, and they try to get you where that fear factor sets in, because if you don't get something done right away, you're going to have interior damage. All the water's going to come in. They set that. And most people are already in a panic mode, don't know what they're going to do because they've never experienced anything like this before. And so what I tell people, get your local company, get somebody you trust, and then wait. There's no urgency factor to put that unless you have water damage, and they can tarp it or they can do some repairs. But here we are, like you said, we were in March and we were having this kind of hail damage and this wind damage. We still got April and May. Usually those are where we really get hit hard with this weather and hail damage and wind damage. But I would wait till the end of May or maybe into June before you actually get another rip, because it's probably going to happen again. So just, watch what you're doing.
I mean, it's just kind of surprising to me, but you see the signs in your neighborhood, and
Absolutely.
your mom, for that to happen to your mom, that hits home
tough
for you. So now you know who to call if you got a problem with the roof. You see the number up there, and man, we're so glad you're part of Bill and Tony's excellent adventure. We're glad to have you on board. It's Mark Sandridge with Over the Top Roofing right here in Kansas City. If you have any needs for your roof, whether it's repair or a new one, now you know who to call. Over the Top Roofing. Okay, so you and I both have, our kids are all raised and on their way. Tone, I'm sorry to tell you that raising a child now costs over $300,000 from the time they're born to the time they're 18. So that does not.
What did we get? Our producer just fainted.
Yeah. Did you hear that thump? $300,000. Wow. Which is up 2%, 3% from last year, but it's up 28% in the last 5 years, not less than 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. $300,000, but that's only till age 18. So if you have a kid that's going to stick around till they're in their early 20s, which that's
or
not
40s.
Out of the ordinary.
Shut up, Mom!
Yeah. So it's going to be more than that. We've talked about teenagers on the show, about kids getting their licenses, and then kids in high school, where in Missouri they're trying to get to where there's less technology and more textbooks. What about this idea? This is something that's happening not in Missouri or Kansas, but in Oklahoma. Teenagers that want to get their license soon may need to take more than a driving test. The lawmakers there are advancing a bill, and it's not just in its early stages. And they're advancing this bill that would require teenage drivers under 18 to prove that they can read at an 8th grade level before they get a permit or a license. What do you think?
Anything to promote reading and writing, I'm for.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough, because I'm sure there are a lot of those kids, especially in Midwest Oklahoma. They're working for dad and driving a pickup truck and going out and hauling hay and stuff like that. So,
it's already passed in their house.
I would agree. I would agree with it, but I agree with it, but there should be exceptions. So I guess I don't agree with it.
Okay, well, this is interesting too. I'm not sure about this. I just don't know about this. One part of the bill would also let the state pull driving privileges for dropouts.
No.
I can't do that.
No. College isn't for everyone, and
we're talking about high school, Bill.
Well,
yeah.
I totally disagree with that.
Meanwhile, those teens and young adults who are literate could get free college tuition, and I'm not referring to the A-plus program or anything like that. I'm talking about Notre Dame. Notre Dame will begin to offer free tuition to some students next year. Most students from families, and this is pretty good, with annual income below $60,000 will receive need-based financial aid that covers tuition, fees, and food, and families with incomes below $200,000 will receive aid that covers half of tuition. Notre Dame.
I like that, especially I was that household, Stacy and I, right at the $60,000 mark. We got 2 kids through college, so
yeah,
I don't know how, but we did.
That's worth looking into. I'm sure.
Totally.
They're probably.
Is it limited or is?
I don't know.
Is it a lottery or?
No, I think it's open. I would think. I don't know. Would they show preference to those that live in Indiana, or
I don't know.
I mean,
That's
I really
interesting.
don't know,
I
but
like it,
it's
though.
worth looking into.
Yeah, definitely.
You got a kid that's, got some smarts and wants to go on and kind of knows what path they want.
Sure.
Maybe it'd be worth looking into. That's Notre Dame. All right, Bill, this is right up your alley. This is part of our job news of the week. You are a dog lover. You have those two little yappers of yours.
Oh,
right?
man, do I ever.
And Tone's got dog. He's got a yapper that's just,
Mine are crazy. Nobody's ever going to sneak into our house.
there's a company in New York City that makes products like, just kind of weird stuff. I guess there's some kind of gum that you can give dogs and
I
treats.
can't believe you said that,
stuff.
because I was just because my dogs have the worst breath in the history of the world.
Well, they take after you.
Yeah.
So there's they're going to make. This is what they're looking for. I said about jobs. So they're looking for someone. Here's the job requirements. This is right up your alley. Accept kisses from a rotating roster of dogs in New York City. Rate and document their breath. Spread the word about the pups and the products across the 5 boroughs. The ideal candidate would have a soft heart, thick skin, and a face dogs instinctively would want to lick. You ready? You interested?
Sure.
You know how
What's
much
it pay?
$1,000 an hour.
What?
Read it right there. See that? Up to $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, I'm
Are
signing
you
up right
leaving?
now. Yeah.
So I need
See
a
ya.
new partner?
Yeah, you need a new partner.
Yeah,
Get Mark over here to be your partner.
Mark, you ready to go? Be over the top roofing, excellent adventure. So that's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting.
That is.
Health news of the week. Remember the old TV show? What the hell was it? With Al Bundy, Love and Marriage. Did the Love and Marriage song? This is
Married with kids.
married with children. Right?
Children,
Is that what it
Married
was?
with Children,
Married with
yeah.
Children. Okay, now we remember. That was a funny ass show. That
was a good show.
One of the very first shows on Fox. It was really a really good show. Well, there's a new study out that claims that adults who have never been married face a much higher risk of developing cancer than those who have been married. I know. I had the same look on my face when I read this. Yeah. University of Miami, so it's not like, Uncle Ted's Chiropractic. They conducted a large study, over 4 million cases, and found adults who have never been married face a higher risk of nearly every major cancer type. Aren't you glad you got married?
Yeah.
That's...
Thanks, Stace.
And even the studies that they did before that already linked marriage with earlier cancer diagnosis and better survival rates. That's crazy.
Is there any reason?
I don't know. No.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're going to ask for the 4 million people. Seriously, I don't know that. But that's pretty interesting. So what happens with? I ain't going to go there. I was going to say what happens with priests and nuns. Forget I brought the whole thing up. This is, we do stories often about. We did one last week. Another reason to avoid California because they're selling gas for $9.99, and the guy said that the one particular gas station owner said it would be higher, but he can only go 9.99 on his pump.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of thinking that Minnesota is another place you might want to start avoiding too.
Yes.
And we're not going. We don't get into politics on this particular show, but remember when we were kids and they used to have the
Gas wars.
Yeah. Well, you remember? And we talk about Minnesota, land of sky blue waters.
Yes,
Land of what was it? Land of a thousand lakes.
Yep.
Well, now it's land. Yeah, still of 1,000 lakes, 20,000 Somalis, and land of unlimited bathhouses. Yeah, listen to this. This is the Minneapolis City Council is considering an ordinance that would legalize adult bathhouses and sex venues. We're not talking about Scooch, Minnesota. We're talking about Minneapolis here.
No wonder my boys don't want to have kids.
shit, I'm telling you, man, what happened to Minnesota and
I
Minneapolis?
don't know. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, there's been a ban on that. Well, there should be. But the council has instructed city staff to research ordinances that would allow adult bathhouses and sex venues involving consenting adults. And if you're thinking, well, I mean, what do they? Can they just put up a porta pot and call it a bathhouse? But they said there will be extensive regulations focused on safety and public health. Yeah, right. With requirements for condoms, monitoring, staff training, lighting, and wash up and waste disposal facilities. Oh. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
To work in there, they may have to pay somebody $1,000 an hour.
And then you get their dog to lick your face at the same time. I don't know what's happening, but
it's crazy.
That's not right. That's not good. Legal news of the week.
Listen to me. I don't give a rat's behind about what you're going to show me.
Everybody's told fish stories, literal. Oh, I caught this fish that's this big, as my dad would have said. But there's a guy in Louisiana that could be going to prison, not county jail, for lying about a fish that he caught. This guy's accused of catching a bass in one of the lakes there around in Louisiana and turned it in. It was a competition, and it was an award. But the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries said their agents were there when the catch was made, and he bragged about it. Later, they spotted the fish on social media post, and it was about this long. And he's charged with forgery, and if he's found guilty, you ready for this? Faces 10 years in prison over a freaking fish. I mean, Minnesota wants bathhouses, and they're going to send this guy to prison over a fish.
Oh, man.
What the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
This is a strange-ass country.
That's crazy. Totally crazy.
Another follow-up, that Bill and Tony follow-up. We talked about last week in the state of Missouri about pregnant women were prevented from getting divorces. And we were expecting Governor Mike Kehoe to sign that bill. He did this week. So that process is finalized. I can't imagine why that was such a hang-up for so many years.
I know.
But it is. All right. Weird news of the week. Have you seen the trophy, the FIFA trophy for the World Cup? Have you seen it? What it is? Beautiful trophy. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a guy in Philadelphia, which is one of the host cities, who is an artist, and he works with different mediums. We've seen stuff made out of, Legos and toothpicks and all kinds of stuff. So this guy is soliciting the public, actually, for the medium that he's going to work with. And he's going to build a replica trophy, World Cup trophy, made out of nails. Fingernails and toenails. I swear I'm not making this shit up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and maybe you see it here. And he was and you said, well, why would anybody want to do that? And he said he was inspired by the reports of migrant workers' deaths during preparations for the World Cup in Qatar, the last one that they had, which shouldn't have been there. But what struck him was, and I'm quoting him, just this idea of labor. So I want to use nails like ledger of labor. More like filing of the funk. Or clipping of the claws.
Oh,
I mean, and this weekend, as we're speaking right now, they are holding a get-together in Rittenhouse Square, which is a big place in Philly, for people to come out and they'll clip your damn nails and provide the hand sanitizer. Wow. And hopefully some gloves. I mean, is that the stupidest
How
shit?
big? Do you have any idea how big it's going to be? I mean,
What, the nails or the trophy?
The trophy.
Yeah, well,
so it's
regular
just
size.
Okay. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and actually on the website, you got to clip there's rules. Not difficult. Clip your nails cleanly, allow them to dry completely, place them in a regular size envelope, and then if you want, you can put a note about yourself and your name. So I hope, you don't mind. I clipped mine and
I was
just put your name, and I sent them off.
Yeah.
And I didn't let them dry. And so seriously, this thing is going to be on display in all the cities. So that funky ass nail thing is going to be here in Kansas City sometime this year, in June. You good to go?
I won't be in line for that.
Your name will be, though. Okay, happy news of the week, kind of, sort of. Do you think we live in the happiest country in the world?
No.
What do you think might be? Can you maybe name one or two? Or you got any ideas who are in the top three?
Sweden.
Close. Finland. Finland number one.
Iceland.
Yes, Iceland number two, and close. Denmark number three.
Okay, all the neutral countries.
Yeah, countries that don't have toenail clippings for
Yeah.
statues,
Yeah.
and bathhouses for the public, and catch a fish and go to prison. No, they don't do that stuff over there. Any idea? There was 147 cities or countries, excuse me. Where do you think the United States came in at? Like kind of where? Where do you think?
Middle of the pack.
23rd.
Okay.
And at the same time, I find this really interesting too. This 2 years in a row, none of the English-speaking countries like Australia, Ireland, United Kingdom were in the top 10. None of them.
Wow.
Okay, so what's the worst-ass country in the world? This ain't hard.
Russia.
No. Middle East. Where do you think?
Iran.
Close. Afghanistan.
Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah. Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So cancel that damn vacation you got coming
no
up.
kidding.
Yeah, and then then the other worst ones, the bottom are Sierra Leone, Malawi, Zimbabwe, and the place that I've won the lottery many times, Botswana. So that's yeah. But
Wow.
the United States, 22 happier countries than us.
Wow.
All right. So we have a special guest today for it's going to talk about a very special event coming up. You recall last year that Graham Hoffman, Kansas City firefighter and EMT, was tragically murdered while he was going to help someone. That person stabbed him and ended his young life. Many things good came out of that. One was a citywide. I mean, it was amazing the turnout that came out for the first annual Graham Hoffman Memorial Ride, and it took place at Outlaw Harley Davidson here in Blue Springs. It began here and ended in Worth Harley Davidson, same family that owns those up north of the river by the airport. And last year we're expecting maybe 100, 150 riders, and we ended up with about 550
Amazing.
riders.
That's amazing.
And the young man that's behind that is Dylan Worth from Outlaw Harley Davidson, and he'll be our special guest to talk about that. We got a special guest on the show today for actually to talk about a very special event that's coming up here in just a few weeks. The first time we did it was coming up on a year ago, so this is the second annual. We're talking about the Graham Hoffman Memorial Paramedic Scholarship, the ride for that, to fund that. And our guest is Dylan Worth from Outlaw Harley Davidson. Dylan is the general sales manager. Man, thanks for coming by today. We're really excited to talk about the ride. So before we get started, I want to not only is Outlaw and your family owns Worth Harley Davidson also, so everybody knows who I'm talking about here. Outlaw Harley Davidson is in Blue Springs. It's actually right next to close to where we are at Sandy's. But the backstory to this particular event is that not only, we felt, the whole city felt like this huge tragedy that happened coming up on a year ago, but Graham Hoffman was a close friend of yours.
Right.
Tell us about your relationship with him and what he was like.
Well, I went to high school with Graham, and we didn't go to the same college. I went to Mizzou. He went to Northwest.
Where'd you guys go?
I was at Mizzou. He was at
In
Northwest.
high school.
In high school, Park Hill South. And right out of college, we became roommates. Like, rekindled the friendship, and he was just that kind of guy that could control the room, make everyone laugh, would be a hell of a lot better than me on this show. He was a hilarious guy. And then at the same time, his commitment to our community, to Kansas City, and his ultimate sacrifice is the tragedy. And but he was that guy that was willing to do that. And unfortunately, it should have never happened, but that's how his life was.
I don't want to dwell too much on that, but this is coming up on a year now.
Yeah.
What was it like for you when you got that phone call? I hate to put you back in that spot, but I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was. I was in Marshall, Missouri, just gotten there with my fiance and future wife, and got the call from one of my best friends, and turned around. She took me straight back to Kansas City and went to North Kansas City Hospital, and I mean the whole hallway was lined with not just friends, firefighters, police. It was like Tiger Woods just passed away.
Well,
he was loved by that many people that it was a big deal. Mm-hmm.
Well, for those, and I'm sure everyone that's watching knows what happened, but Graham was a Graham was a young firefighter EMT, and there was a call, and he went to answer the call, and it was for someone walking along
Right.
the highway, and that person, I don't know if it was an in distress call, whatever it was, but they went to check on this person. And whatever the chain of events that happened when he and his partner got on the call, they were going to transport this person to a hospital. And it was a woman, and she, for some ungodly reason, stabbed him. And it ended his life. I mean, it was a tragedy. Bill, you remember it. I mean, we all remember it. And it was one of those things where it felt like it was our family member. The whole city. I mean, we felt like it was us. But I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with Graham's parents, with Mike and Rhonda, and his brother and his fiance too, and the city rallied around, and it rallied in a way that we can count on one hand how many times we've seen in our lifetime. I remember, I work with Bill and I both. I'm the public information officer, and Bill serves on an advisory board, Hero Friends, for Hero Fund USA. And our primary focus is to provide protective gear for emergency services personnel, for firefighters, for police officers. This was never really a lane that we had been in when it came time to do a benefit. But we couldn't say, how do you say no? And the long story short of it is we partnered with you and your family's dealership with Worth Harley Davidson to do this the first annual Hoffman Memorial Ride. Talk a little bit about how last year's ride, how it all came about, and the incredible turnout we ended up having that day.
And to be completely honest, I didn't know what the Hero Fund was.
Yeah.
And I did a quick Google search.
Yeah.
And I remember with Carson who's over there and just being like, wait, this seems like the perfect, we could look out our window and see Daryl's office.
We're neighbors out here.
Hey, right. We can see it right across the street. We're like, all right, well, we'll talk to him. And Daryl ended up being super helpful, just like the perfect guy, all the connections. And it ended up being 500 plus people on the ride. And
We
over
were expected.
70.
We didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect. I mean, you guys do these rides. And was it one of the biggest or the biggest you'd ever done?
The biggest that's ever started at Outlaw, Harley Davidson, for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a great time. I got to lead the ride, and it was really cool. All of his friends, family, everyone was out there. Even if they don't ride motorcycles,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You can come, just donate, buy a shirt.
Well, I remember last year, we did the online registration, and I think we closed down the website like the night or two before. So we thought, well, we got like 300 riders, man. This is going to be huge. And then I remember morning of at the dealership at your place, we saw this endless line of people that was the walk up. And I thought, oh my.
Right.
And the first thing we did was we went to our police friends who were going to direct the traffic at the ride, and they said, "No, we got this."
Yeah, that was a wild morning. Luckily, with Blue Springs PD and all the other departments surrounding, we were able to close off one side of the street and get everyone lined up, and then use our parking lot that's tiny for the rest of it. And then up at Worth, it was kind of like clockwork for that dealership, because they have the bike nights and have more space in the stage. And Johnny Dare came out and helped as well,
Right.
as well as you.
Yeah.
And that was very nice of him. And
Yeah. Well, Johnny's got a lot of fans in this town, and I think
Yep.
he's just recently done the promo for you on the website too. And we'll be more than happy to run that, to show that.
Dylan, what is it about the Harley Davidson community, the motorcycle community, that makes them so compassionate? Because every time I see one of these rides, it blows my mind.
I think it's just, the Harley community is all about people coming together for a common reason, and, first and foremost, to ride together. Because if you've never been on a motorcycle and been with 3, 4, 5, 6 of your best friends, it's something different, and it's something a lot of people aren't used to. And especially when you get that many people together, you're talking like 500 people with you. And I remember I have videos of the ride. So my fiance was on the back taking videos, and there were firefighters over every overpass with the trucks, all saluting, and it was just like that kind of community gathering. We shut down the whole city, so hopefully that's the same this year. But it was really cool. Yeah.
Having had the first ride last year, expectations, I'm sure, are high this year. But dotting the I's, crossing the T's, is all that a little bit easier?
Having doing it last year?
Yes.
Yeah, yes and no. My day job is to sell motorcycles, but plenty of events, it's just, it takes a lot of work. And I will say that our staff at both Outlaw and Worth help a lot. And then Graham's huge, who's part of my huge friend group of people, they all help as well. So it's not just like it's all on Worth and Outlaw Harley Davidson. It's the Hero Fund. It's Graham's family, Graham's friends, and even random people that didn't know Graham that were firefighters, EMTs, anything. So it's good to have all that help, and people care. So
Let's talk about the actual ride itself and the specifics. It'll be Saturday, May 9th, and it'll begin at your place at Outlaw Harley Davidson in Blue Springs. The cost, $40 for riders.
Yep.
If you want to have two, $60. So that's really, in my opinion, that's pretty cheap.
Right.
What we raised last year on that day, do you recall?
Over 70 grand.
So over 70 grand. And then I think that the fund, which is managed by Hero Fund, we ended up granting 6 scholarships in year one. It is the Graham Hoffman Memorial Paramedic Scholarship, and what it is, we take the applications. They're open to any individual who has a desire to pursue a career as a paramedic and or a paramedic / firefighter, are not sponsored by a department for the training, but are self-funding, and are already EMT certified. Those are the excuse me, the what we require. But we were able to do that because of the success of the ride and other many donations that we did throughout the course of the year. At the end of the year at Dining with Heroes, which you were there, and what you were, and you guys were there too. Yeah. We were able to award 6 scholarships in the first year. So we're hoping to award at least 6 this year. So too. Also, sponsorship opportunities. If Dylan, you want to talk about that also.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 different tiers of sponsorships. The biggest one is a $3,000 scholarship or sponsorship, and it goes down from there, $2,000, $1,500. But the biggest one will get you attached to Worth and Outlaw Harley Davidson's social media pages, which is they have a lot of views, a ton of views, and you'll be on the T-shirt like the one I'm wearing right now. On the back, I have everyone's logo from sponsoring last year, and it's a big help. If you can't do it, then that's fine, but just being part of it or even buying the T-shirt means a lot, because every dollar, as you know, being a part of the Hero Fund, you take anything that goes towards it is a help, you know.
Yeah. And it all goes to towards these scholarships. And, you know, we want to get to a point where, you know, the ride's fun and it's great. Mm-hmm. And I think this ride is going to be, it's in Graham's legacy, but it's going to be a legacy ride, I think, in itself, because of the way we started last year. And we had great media coverage. All the television stations were out there. I mean, fortunately, that's my little part that I can help with, and they all came out. And they covered not only the beginning of the race, but they were back out at Worth for the end of the day. So the ride will begin at your place here in Blue Springs at Outlaw, and we'll wind up near Tiffany Springs, up north at Worth. What happens there? Because, you know, we know what's going to start out here, but that's a pretty fun time, and just as many, if not more, people are out there too.
Right. At the end, we actually have the Life Flight helicopter coming out. Mm-hmm. They're going to land in the field next to Worth. We're going to have a band playing. We're going to have, you know, just like any other Thursday night at Worth Harley Davidson, it's going to have, you know, band, barbecue, music, beer, you know, and then a raffle. So any sort of silent auction donations help as well. But it was a great time last year. It was hot, but hopefully it's a little cool.
We had good weather, maybe a little too good. It was hot. I remember last year it was hot, but you know, no rain this year. We'll talk to our friend Brian Busby to make sure that doesn't happen.
What was it like for you, Dylan, to watch the video that was taken during the event? I was lucky enough one time to ride in the Chiefs Super Bowl parade. A friend of mine drove the truck that let it off.
Really?
And it's just a different thing, looking out and seeing everybody cheer you. With you, was it just special to sit back and watch that?
Yeah, I mean, being on it is incredible. Like, I couldn't tell you how emotional it was. Mm-hmm. And then to see people that also on it or part of it have videos on their, you know, Instagram or Snapchat or whatnot, and just going by the store and everyone filming as all the bikes went by, and it's like I was like right in the front. I was like, wow, this is something different, you know. Is unfortunately, like, I wish we didn't have to, but that was the whole big thing with partying with the Hero Fund USA was, you know, your main goal is protection equipment.
To prevent these sorts of things from happening.
Right. But my part, in what I thought I could help with is, you know, if it's a scary job. You know, it's people don't think you're risking your life every day, and getting people who might not be able to afford to do the job is also as important as protecting them. So that's where I kind of thought that this would help.
Well, you know, Dylan, there was a really natural connection with Hero Fund and Graham indirectly, because a really good friend of ours was his captain that night, Nick Silvio.
Yeah.
And Nick, who helps us a lot with our First Responder of the Month campaign that we do with Steel City Media. He provides free lunch for us every month for a member of a department and 20 of their coworkers. We did it all last year. We're doing it again this year. So obviously we're friends with Nick. Nick's brother Sam is a co-founder of Hero Fund USA. So, you know, our phone started ringing even before you called that, hey, we've got this incident that just happened. And if you recall, Sam headed up the restaurant campaign that was done right after Graham's death that we did. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, might have been the first weekend.
It was a huge chunk of money.
And you know, we did all the members of Kansas City Restaurant Association, you remember that.
I do.
Chipped in with a percentage of their sales for that weekend. And, you know, we got off to a really good start. And then we had the ride, and before you know it, we got $100,000 that we can start giving away scholarships. But, you know, it's a weird time in American history right now. Weird in the sense that there's a lot of division, you know. And Bill and I don't talk about politics on this show. We just stay away from it. We talk about pretty much everything but politics. The closest thing to politics we had on the show was Frank White. Well, we basically talked about his baseball career, and we got his opinion on what really happened in Jackson County. But neither here or there. But this is the kind of thing that brings a divided city, a divided community together. And I don't think at any point in 2025 until we got to whatever date that ride was last year, it was in July last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
That we got that division that came together like that. And I think you'll agree. And I think it's going to bring us together again. When you look out and see over 500 people on bikes, on motorcycles, riding for someone, I bet you 95% of them didn't know him.
Right. I mean, you look at the T-shirt sales that, was it E2, the name of them?
Yeah, E2, right.
And they sold shirts in every state in America.
Can you believe that?
Insane.
Wow.
Yeah. Every single state had someone buy a shirt. And that's not the one I'm wearing. That's the Station 42 one, the blue one that everyone knows. Yeah.
It's a great shirt.
Yeah, they did all that for the Hoffman family, and, you know, donated that directly to them. So shouts out to them too. And
yeah. Well, I want to do a shout out to your staff, especially the young lady that's sitting here next to you that we keep looking over at because
she's a lot better looking than you two guys.
Yeah, sorry.
She's got all the answers.
Yeah, she does have all the answers. You were talking about, hey, my job's to sell motorcycles,
right?
Event planning and stuff. Well, but Carson Orlando, Carson does. You'll agree with me. The majority, if not all, the grunt work,
right?
And she's our contact there, and she's awesome. So, you know, anybody watching that you want to get a hold of them there, you know, you'll probably be talking to Carson. But I want to mention again, we want to invite you to join us in honoring Graham Hoffman's legacy. The ride will be Saturday, May 9th at Outlaw Harley Davidson in Blue Springs. It'll wind up at Worth Harley Davidson in Kansas City, Missouri. It's $40 for a rider, $60 for a rider and a passenger. We'll begin at Outlaw. We'll end at Worth. It'll be a great day, a great event, and we're really glad you came in to talk about it, and we'll be all over it.
Well, I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. You
bet, Dylan. Yeah. Thank you. That's Dylan Worth from Outlaw Harley Davidson. So that ride's coming up, and I got a hunch that if we may even surpass what we did last year.
Oh, I bet you do.
I mean, you know, to be able to grant those scholarships. And the young man's name was tragic, but something big came out of it. We'll be back with another episode here in the next week or so. Also want to say thank you to our friend Bobby Hines from Sandy's, who allows us to come in here every week. Sandy's Restaurant in Blue Springs and the You Matter movement. We also want to thank and welcome our new sponsor and partner, Over the Top Roofing in Kansas City, and my dear friend Mark Sandridge. We'll be back next week with another episode of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. Remember, you can catch our full podcast episodes on YouTube and Spotify. Hook up with us on TikTok and Facebook. He's Bill Althouse. I'm Tony Stevens. We'll see you next time.
Take care.